War, famine, disasters, governments collapsing, nations falling apart. But behind all this chaos, something else is happening.
We're not gonna take more!
What if the real battle is not Russia versus NATO, not left versus right, not elites versus the masses, but something deeper, something invisible, something ancient, something the Bible said would explode in our time? This is the hidden battle behind world chaos, and this is what the Bible says is coming next. Stay with this video, because once you see this truth, you'll understand everything happening in the world right now. The world today feels different. Not just dangerous, but unstable. Like everything is shaking at the same time. People everywhere feel it. Families breaking under pressure. Nations drowning in corruption. Prices rising faster than salaries. Young people losing hope. Disasters striking one after another. Governments unable to fix anything. And behind the headlines, behind the statistics, behind the numbing routine of tragedy, a question is quietly growing in the heart of millions. Why is everything happening all at once? Why does it feel like the world is spiraling faster every year, like we're being pulled into something we can't see? Here's the truth. What you are watching right now is not just global instability. It's not bad politics. It's not climate cycles. It's not human error. It is the symptoms of a deeper reality. A battle the Bible said would erupt in the final part of the last days. A battle humanity cannot see, but everyone can feel. Because the chaos you see on the surface is only the smoke from a fire burning in the unseen world. And unless we understand the origin of that fire, we will misunderstand everything happening next. This video is not about conspiracy. It's not political commentary. It's not speculation. This is Bible prophecy, clear, measurable, unfolding in real time, and it reveals a hidden war shaping the world we're living in. A war that explains why nothing on earth feels stable anymore, and a war that reveals exactly what is coming next. And to understand that war, we must start where the Bible starts, not on earth, but in heaven. The invisible war. If we want to understand the chaos shaking our world today, we can't start by analyzing presidents, parliaments, or protests. Trying to interpret world events from the surface will only lead to confusion. To uncover the real cause, we must start in a place no human camera can film, in heaven. And only the Bible takes us there. From creation onward, every spirit creature, including Satan, had unrestricted access to both the heavenly realm and the earth. On one of those visits, he launched the Edenic attack that changed human history. Even after misleading Adam and Eve, Satan still moved freely between heaven and earth. Before the flood, other disobedient angels saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. They abandoned their heavenly positions, came down to marry those women, and helped Satan shape the pre-flood world. Genesis 6:1-2. When the deluge struck, they simply fled back to the spirit realm and watched humanity face the consequences. Later, the book of Job shows Satan standing among the sons of God, appearing before Jehovah in heaven, and then returning to earth again. Job 1:6-7-2:1-2. For centuries, the rebellion was tolerated, but it was never going to be allowed forever. The Bible pointed to a specific future moment when that situation would end, a moment when Jesus Christ would be given full kingdom authority, not merely as a sacrificed lamb, but as a reigning, conquering king. Revelation chapter 12 reveals what happened next. It does not describe a peaceful coronation. It describes a war. Open quote, war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels battled with the dragon, and the dragon and its angels battled. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them any longer in heaven. Revelation 12 verse 7-8, close quote. Michael, the name used for Jesus in his heavenly kingly role, leads the loyal angels. On the opposing side, the great dragon, the original serpent, the one called Devil and Satan. This was no symbolic disagreement. It was a real spiritual conflict. And the outcome was final. Open quote. So down the great dragon was hurled, and his angels were hurled down with him. Revelation 12:9, close quote. Now here is where prophetic timing becomes impossible to ignore. This war in heaven was not before Eden, not before the flood, and not in some mysterious ancient age. Revelation itself opens by saying its visions concern the Lord's day, a future period when Christ would begin ruling as king. Revelation 1:10. For keys to truly understanding the book of Revelation, watch our first video on the book of Revelation, The Code That Bless. It lays the foundation. Click on the link above. Early in 1914, that Lord's Day began. Jesus received kingdom authority in heaven. Revelation 6:2. And soon after, this cosmic war erupted. Satan and his demons were not destroyed, but they were expelled from heaven permanently. No more access, no more standing among the sons of God, no more movement between realms, no more ability to challenge Jehovah face to face. Heaven was cleansed. Earth became the center of his rage. That's why Revelation 12 verse 12 issues one of the most chilling warnings in all of Scripture. Open quote, "Woe for the earth and for the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great anger, knowing he has a short period of time." Close quote. Think about that. A powerful, intelligent, ancient spirit creature, humiliated, defeated, enraged, confined to one tiny planet, and fully aware that his countdown has already begun. Is it merely coincidence that in that very same year, 1914, the world was shattered by the first global war in all human history? That the 20th century opened like a prophetic earthquake, with world wars, food crises, pandemics, moral collapse, extreme violence, and social disorder accelerating faster than any previous century? The Bible says no. From that moment onward, humanity entered what Jesus called the conclusion of the system of things, the last days. Matthew 24:3, 2 Timothy 3:1. So the chaos we see today is not random. It is not simply human failure. It is the visible fallout of an invisible war that broke out in heaven and reached its turning point early in 1914. But Satan does not attack in a single line. If he has only a short period of time, he will strike the world from every possible direction, politically, religiously, economically, and morally. That's why it feels as if everything is collapsing at once. In the next part of this video, we'll examine these four fronts of the hidden battle, and you'll see how Bible prophecy explains exactly what you're watching in world events, and perhaps even what you're feeling in your own life. The four fronts of the hidden battle. The war that began in heaven didn't end when Satan was expelled. It simply changed its dimension. It is no longer an open spiritual confrontation. It has shifted into something more subtle, a cold war, an ideological war, a psychological and philosophical war. Revelation 6:2 shows Jesus Christ, the rider of the white horse, has not stopped riding. He is still conquering. He is still exposing. He is still unraveling every lie, distortion, and weakness in Satan's systems, political, religious, economic, and moral. His light is cracking open the illusions. His truth is exposing the seams, and everything built on deception is now trembling under the pressure. Just as Peter said, the elements, of this world are becoming intensely hot, 2 Peter 3:10, straining, weakening, dissolving. People everywhere are waking up, some quietly breaking free from the systems they once trusted. Others, though still asleep, are feeling the cracks and reacting to the deception with frustration, fear, and confusion. On the other side, Satan, furious, humiliated, and desperate, is intensifying his deception with one single objective. If he goes down, the whole world must go with him. Matthew 24:22. He wants no faith left when God steps in, no clarity, no survivors. But the more he pushes, the more the truth unravels. Revelation 12:9 says his very efforts expose him. Let's make this clear. When Satan was expelled from heaven early in 1914, he didn't arrive quietly. He came with rage. He came with urgency. He came with strategy. And if the devil knows his time is short, he will not waste a second. He strikes the world from every possible direction, creating a storm of confusion so overwhelming that people can no longer see the real enemy. Bible prophecy reveals four major fronts where this war is being fought right now: the political front, the religious front, the economic front, the moral, psychological front. Let's open them one by one. The political front. Governments in disarray. Daniel 2:43, Revelation 17. To understand this front of the invisible war, imagine a master manipulator, a psychopath planning to pick a pocket, or a sociopath preparing to rob a bank. He never walks in boldly. He never announces his intention. Instead, he manufactures confusion. He knocks over a shelf. He starts an argument. He triggers a commotion, a small chaos that hijacks everyone's attention. While people look left, he moves right. While emotions rise, he slips his hand into the pocket. While the room is distracted, he quietly takes what he came for. And by the time everyone wakes up, he is already gone, and no one can explain what just happened. This is how powerful individuals, institutions, and nations operate. This is how Satan operates, not by transparency, but by chaos, confusion, and misdirection. Political upheaval is not random. It's strategic. It's a smokescreen. It is one of the clearest signs that the invisible war is active. Daniel 2:43 revealed long ago that human governments would be iron mixed with clay, strong-looking yet unstable, incompatible, unable to hold together. No alliance, treaty, summit, diplomatic handshake, or global organization can unify the nations of the world. The fractures are built in. Revelation 17 goes deeper. It shows governments becoming increasingly unstable, insecure, aggressive, suspicious, and eventually turning on each other like predators in the same cage. This confusion becomes the perfect distraction. People stare at political drama instead of the spiritual war behind it. Their anger, fears, loyalties, and emotions get entangled in Satan's diversions. Meanwhile, the real enemy moves quietly. Look at the world today. Is this not exactly what we see? Nations turning inward, threats of nuclear confrontation, ideologies tearing societies apart, global polarization rising, treaties failing, corruption exploding, leadership distrust spreading, protests, riots, coups increasing. The world isn't becoming more governable, it is becoming ungovernable. Meanwhile, Satan gets what he wants. Not by accident, but because prophecy said it would be this way in the final phase of the invisible war. The religious front. Deception at its peak. 2 Corinthians 11, 13, 15, Revelation 18. The second front is the spiritual arena and Satan's masterpiece. The Bible warns that Satan presents himself as an angel of light and his servants as ministers of righteousness. 2 Corinthians 11, 13, 15. Revelation 18 exposes Babylon the Great, the vast global system of false religion, as one of his strongest weapons. Here he offers humanity a buffet of lies, customized doctrines, emotional rituals, self-made interpretations and beliefs catering to individuals' appeal. Anything to distract from truth and keep people in the dark. Is it surprising then that religion today is one of the biggest sources of confusion, division, hypocrisy, violence, scandals, disappointment, atheism, prosperity? Preachers exploit these to enrich themselves. Leaders are exposed. Followers lose faith. Christian nationalism rises. People turn away from God because of religion's corruption. Satan's goal? To drown the truth under so much noise, so much contradiction, so much emotional dependency that people no longer know where to turn until they walk through the wide gate of destruction. Matthew 7:13. The economic front, a world in crisis. This is the most intricate front. The global economic system, or more accurately, the egonomic system, is built on illusions, money, and the love of it, manufactured scarcity, false value, debt-based control, financial fear, greed, fueled incentives. Jesus already revealed how deceptive wealth is, a thorn that chokes the word. Matthew 13:22. And now, the foundations of modern economics are collapsing under their own weight. Nations drowning in debt, currencies losing value, inflation spiraling, global inequality exploding because money and economic assumptions are proving unsustainable and unrealistic. Governments are now begging for a reset. We'll explain why the economic world is collapsing in an upcoming detailed video. Subscribe to be notified. Meanwhile, Satan knows something powerful. Starvation controls behavior. So he weaponizes scarcity. James 5 foretold a time when the wealthy hoard resources while the poor cry out. Revelation 6 shows the black horse riding, the horse of economic distress. Open quote, a quart of wheat for a denarius. Revelation 6:6, close quote. Scarcity, inflation, financial strain. Sound familiar? Rising food prices, job instability, recession fears, billionaires increasing, millions starving, nations bankrupt, middle class collapsing. The economic system is trembling because the invisible war is hitting humanity's survival foundation. The moral and psychological front, the breakdown of humanity. This is the most personal battleground of the invisible war, the war inside the human heart. 2 Timothy 3 warned, open quote, "In the last days, critical times hard to deal with will be here." Close quote. People would become lovers of themselves, lovers of money, arrogant, unthankful, disloyal, fierce betrayers without natural affection. Today, this prophecy isn't just fulfilled, it's overflowing. And here is the deeper layer most people never see. While Jesus Christ is exposing and unraveling the cracks in Satan's world system, Satan is retaliating by attacking God's systems, starting with the individual heart, then moving through families, institutions, and organizations. He attacks your identity, your self-worth, your peace, your morality, your relationships, your emotional balance, your spiritual perception. Why? Because if he can break the heart, he can break the home. If he can break the home, he can break the community. If he can break the community, he can break the world. This is why the psychological front feels so intense today. Depression rising, anxiety normalizing, empty, fragile relationships, broken families, violence escalating, empathy disappearing, social restraint collapsing, people becoming emotionally numb. Human hearts are growing cold because the invisible war is targeting the very systems God designed to reflect his qualities: love, justice, peace, compassion, loyalty, purity. Satan knows his world is unraveling under Christ's light, so he shifts the battlefield to the inner life of people, because a broken heart is easier to control than a broken government. We've seen the cracks in every human system. We've seen how the world is shaking from political, religious, economic, and moral collapse. But Bible prophecy does not simply reveal the cause. It reveals the next phase, the phase humanity is rushing toward right now. In fact, everything happening today is preparing the world for a moment the Bible has been warning about for thousands of years. Here's the prophetic timeline of what comes next: a false global stability, the cry of peace and security. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Before the final crisis erupts, the Bible describes something unexpected, a moment that will catch the world off guard. Whenever it is that they are saying peace and security, then sudden destruction will be instantly upon them. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. This will not be a genuine peace. It will not be global harmony or true stability. It will be a political illusion, a human-made announcement, a declaration of safety right before the collapse. Since the First World War, the world has heard endless promises of peace, security, stability, and global cooperation. And in our time, the phrase has become even louder. Summits, treaties, conferences, negotiations, all promoting the idea that humanity can stabilize itself. Are these the sayings Paul foretold? Are these diplomatic voices the beginning of that prophecy? We cannot say for certain. Whether these are the sayings, or there will be an official global declaration, or simply an international atmosphere of peace talk triumph, only time will tell. But the Bible is unambiguous about one thing: whatever the world calls peace, it will be the calm before the final storm, a deceptive moment of confidence, an illusion of control, a temporary quiet just before events accelerate with prophetic force. The global fall of false religion, the judgment of Babylon the Great, Revelation 17 and 18. After the false peace, the next major event is the collapse of the world's religious empire. Revelation 17 describes Babylon the Great, the entire system of false religion, being exposed, stripped, and destroyed by the very political powers she used to influence. The 10 horns will hate the harlot and will devastate her. Revelation 17:16. This will be sudden, shocking, worldwide. The religious world will crumble, not gradually, but violently and irreversibly. This is the first major domino in the final sequence. The gathering of nations for the final confrontation. Revelation 16:16, Joel 3:9-14. After false religion collapses, Satan launches his last global strategy. He gathers the nations into a unified position against Jehovah and his people. Revelation 16 says, demons perform signs to gather the kings of the earth to the war of the great day of God the Almighty. Revelation 16:14. This is not random war. It is a strategic positioning, a global alignment of powers, a climax of political rage, military buildup, and ideological pressure. We see hints of this alignment forming already. Nations sharpening their weapons, geopolitical alliances shifting, global distrust rising, tension building between world blocs, technology being weaponized, superpowers preparing for confrontation. Humanity doesn't realize it yet, but prophecy says these movements are setting the stage for the greatest conflict in history. The final attack on God's people, the trigger of Armageddon, Ezekiel 38 and 39. Psalm 83, Revelation 12:17. As the nations unify, Satan directs their hostility toward one target, God's people. Revelation 12:17 says, "The dragon became enraged at the woman and went off to wage war with the remaining ones of her offspring." Ezekiel 38 describes this as the moment the nations attempt a coordinated strike against God's people, not out of strategy, but out of hatred stirred by Satan. This attack becomes the trigger for the next and final intervention. Armageddon, God steps in, Revelation 19, Daniel 2:44. When the world reaches this climax, when nations make their final move, when hatred peaks and violence reaches its limit, Jehovah intervenes. Not through human governments, not through alliances, not through negotiations, but directly. Daniel 2:44 says, "In the days of those kings the God of heaven will set up a kingdom, and it will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms." Revelation 19 shows the heavenly armies led by Jesus Christ executing divine judgment on the nations gathered together. This is Armageddon, not the end of humanity, but the end of this corrupt system, a cleansing, a removal, a reset, not man-made, but divinely orchestrated. The restoration, earth finally returns to its purpose. Revelation 21:3-5, Psalm 37, Isaiah 65. This is the hope behind the prophecy, the part most people don't know. After Armageddon, war ends, corruption ends, crime ends, sickness ends, death ends, hunger ends, suffering ends. Revelation 21:4 says, "He will wipe out every tear. Death will be no more. The former things have passed away." Isaiah 65 describes people building, planting, enjoying life. Psalm 37 says the meek will inherit the earth. This is not heaven for humans. It is earth restored. This is what God always wanted. This is what Jesus died for. This is where the prophecy leads. How you can survive what's coming. Everything we've covered so far makes one thing clear. We are no longer living in ordinary times. The world is accelerating toward the climax of the prophecy Jesus spoke about, and the events that follow the cry of peace and security will unfold with a speed humanity has never seen. But here is the good news. The Bible does not just reveal the danger, it reveals the way through it. And survival is not about storing food, relocating, or preparing physically. The real survival Jesus spoke about is spiritual, and it begins long before the final events break open. It requires a real relationship with Jehovah, accurate knowledge, spiritual alertness, moral clarity, alignment with God's kingdom, and the courage to stand firm when the world collapses. But instead of making this section long, we've already prepared the complete guide. If you want to know exactly how to survive the end of this world system, watch our earlier video, How to Survive the End of the World. It breaks down the 7 critical steps Jesus said are essential. That video is the full survival manual, because prophecy tells us what is coming, but Jesus tells us how to stand through it and live to see the world God is preparing next. The world is changing fast. Prophecy is unfolding in front of our eyes, and every day we move closer to the moment when Jehovah steps in, when Christ completes his conquest, and when this system finally collapses into history. But you were not meant to face these times in fear. The Bible was given to give clarity and hope and direction. If this video opened your eyes, if it helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, don't stop here. We've already prepared an earlier video that goes deeper into the practical steps Jesus said are essential for survival. Watch How to Survive the End of the World. That video is your full guide. And if you want to grow spiritually, understand the Bible for yourself, and find answers to the biggest questions of our time, visit jw.org. You'll find Bible study tools, publications, videos, and resources that will strengthen your faith and help you stay awake spiritually in these critical times. If you found value in this video, subscribe, share it with someone who needs clarity, and join us as we continue unlocking the deep truths of Scripture. This is Deep Truth Cipher, and remember, the world is confused, but the Bible